Hey everybody, it's Aquila from a lefty-knitter podcast, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Sorry, froggy already. Wow. Okay, so I say that a lot, I've noticed. Okay, so I have some spinning to show. Now, I showed this episodes ago. I don't even remember when, because I looked at my project and I started this in July. And then I didn't touch my spinning wheel for a very long time. And I only have 3 bobbins for my wheel, so I can't really do, like, I can't spin all kinds of different things because I just don't have enough bobbins for that type of thing. This is what I have. These are 2 singles. It's not going to focus. That's cool. Focusing issues. There we go. So I have 2. The white was Cormo, and I wrote it on the bag so I remembered what I bought. It was 19 micron Cormo, and I had 3 3/8 ounces of this. I split my Cormo in half. I probably weighed it in grams since it's a smaller unit, and then broke it into 2 even weights. Look, I even have the receipt. I paid $12.08 for this white Cormo. Alright, and then I had bought all these little bits and bobs of fluff, and I had 3/4 ounces of this fluff. Now, the fluff was one of those fill a bag as much as you can for a certain price. And that's what I did. It was at Maryland Sheep and Wool. What I didn't realize when I was doing that was there was lots of pieces in here that were kind of felted, not as usable. So what I planned to do was to spin this as a 2-ply. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to mix all the little fluffy pieces in, and that's why you see random bits of it all throughout. And it was really cool because in some spots it kind of barber poled with the Cormo. In some spots I was strictly only spinning the color bits. And then in some spots I have almost, it's like super fluffy, nubbly type. You can barely see it. It's not focusing, I'm sorry. So now that this is done, I am excited to apply these 2 together and see how much I get out of it. And maybe I'll have that in this video because I'm really hoping to apply this tonight. And that's why I had to record now. And it's just bad timing to record, but this is why I had to record now because I wanted to show you the 2 singles before I applied them together. So there you go. All right, until the next part of the video. So here is my 2-ply. Yeah, the lighting is terrible. And I wanted to show you, I finished 1 bobbin, but I still had some singles left on my 2nd bobbin. So I've kind of just tied it off here, and I have used my Andean Plying tool. This was actually one of those 3D cut ones, and it's plastic, and it was made by TurtleMade, and I'll make sure I put the link below. I also got one of these from my friend Danny because she was like really heavily spinning, and trying to make the bracelet on my hand was terrifying, so I decided to buy the tool. So I put the rest of my singles, you can see the end comes here, and then I took it up. And so now I'm going to take what was left on that bobbin, these singles, and 2-ply them against themselves. So I have 1 full skein of a 2-ply without breaking it. Hopefully it works. Hopefully, I've never used this before. I hope I wrapped it right, because I think that's the biggest problem when you do an Andean bracelet, is you don't wrap one of the wraps correctly, and then the whole thing becomes a tangled mess. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully this works out. That's what the back ends up looking like. There you go. Hey everybody, I have finished spinning. So I took a personal day today. Let me just say that. It's Friday. Took a personal day. I finished spinning that Cormo, and The plies are really loose. I feel like I could have plied it a little more. Now I have not washed it, soaked it, whatever, done all that. I did wind it on my nitty knotty and put it in the hank, and I came up with like 360 yards. So I feel like that's kind of good for a 4 ounce and 2 ply. So if you double that, that's 360, 720 yards. So not terrible, but I would like to get closer to a 400 yard skein with a 2 ply. That would be pretty awesome. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to a 3 ply 400 yard. I don't know. That you'd have to spin awfully thin for that. So I'll show you. I used some gray yarn to tie it off, and I have some loose ends going on. But there it is. I was telling you how I have some fluff going on. I think it turned out pretty awesome. So while I am going to soak this, wash it, whack it, do all that stuff that you do with, you know, hand spun yarn, I've shown this on the podcast, I believe, before. This was the last thing I spun, and I have not washed this one yet either. There it is. This is also a 2 ply. I have a lot of thick and thins going on in here. I have a lot of really thick pieces. This was Malabrigo Nube Roving that I had gotten. Actually, I think John purchased this for me. This was a 4 ounce. I don't remember, did I write down? I didn't even write down on here how much I got in yardage. I think it might be on my project page. So I'm going to take this little bucket I got at the dollar store specifically for 1, washing my hand knit socks, and 2, blocking or soaking hand knits, everything, as long as it fits in this bucket. So I'm gonna probably do each one separately, let them dry, and then you're supposed to check how much yardage you have, which I might or might not do. So I just wanted to check in and show you guys both of these. I think they're really cool. I'm really wanting to hand spin more. I have not a ton of fiber, but I have some. So I'll probably record one more video and show you guys what it looks like after it's dried. I'm hoping this one, like I said, plumps up a lot. Can you see how loose those plies are? Some of them. I'm hoping it plumps up and really fills out. Focusing issues all the time. All right, see you guys next time. Hey everybody, made a list to finish up the video because I'll forget. Yeah, okay, so I did felt all my little pieces from the comments of the last video. I was talking about how this yarn is it would unply and look very messy if I used it for fringe. I tested it and I felted the piece and it looked so much better. So I did cut all my fringe pieces. It called for like 9-inch pieces. I knew I was not going to have enough for 9-inch pieces. So I made mine 8 and I think it looks just as wonderful. And I felted all 50-some fringe pieces, both sides, which was a pain in the butt. It took me about 45 minutes. So I tied them all on and it is now finished. This is Shiloh by Aylor. And I I talked about a lot more of this project in my last video, which I'll link to. I had 4 grams left. So this yarn was quarry and I had 2 skeins of it to do the double loop. I almost wish I did the single loop, but that's okay. It's done now. I had not blocked it in the last video. I also did not soak and block this. I laid it out how I wanted it and spray blocked it with a bottle of water. I was afraid if I soaked the whole thing, it would be really heavy and possibly really stretch out. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't know how this yarn was going to play with that because I didn't want to also pull on it and possibly break any of the yarn because it's It's very, people have talked about this yarn. I'm probably throwing this away unless I put it in a bin of weaving stuff. It just comes apart really easily. And people complained about that because it breaks when they're casting on or whatever. But can you see how that would look if I use that for fringe? That would look terrible. So here's all my fringe at the bottom. And I feel like just the spray bottle blocking worked really well. The only thing with this yarn, you can really see where the decrease, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was, the decreases. So it's not as bad as I thought it was. You can see them, but yeah. All right, so there's Shiloh. That's now completely finished. I don't have to do anything else with it except wear it, except now it's starting to get warm because spring has sprung. Whatever. All right, the other things that I had showed you, well, yeah, I'll just talk about these two. These have now been washed and dried, and I looked back on my project page, this Malabrigo Nube. I actually had 360 yards also of this. This is also a 2-ply, which is really strange that I got 16 wraps per inch because I was trying to weigh it. Now, my tool that I have is a Nancy's Knacks, I believe, tool. And yeah, it's a Nancy Knacks toolkit. So I got it at a booth at one of the festivals, so I didn't actually order it from Nancy's Knacks. And it comes with the card that tells you all the different weights. Now, with my hand spun, I should have followed this bottom sentence. And it says, for yarns with lots of character, thick and thin, wrap 2 to 3 inches and then divide by 2 or 3, depending on if you wrap 2 or wrap 3 inches. I didn't want to take these out of their ties, so I wrapped what I could, which was about 1 inch. And here's the tool. You stick your yarn in the notch and you wrap it around this shaft part here, and it's got 1, 2, and 3 inch marks. It's not gonna focus on it. You don't squish the yarn up real tight. You do it so they just lay next to each other nicely. And I got 16 wraps for the Nube. I got 19 wraps for the Cordell, which, okay, so 16 wraps falls in the sport weight category. 15 to 18 wraps is sport weight, and I got 16. I would say this is probably pretty much a sport weight because it falls kind of in the middle. Even with some of the thick and thins, the thick and thin parts would be a little bit different, but I think most of it is probably falls within that range. Now I got 19 wraps on the white one, which is a fingering. Fingering falls 19 to 22 wraps. So I was right on the cusp of sport and fingering. So I would say that this yarn is probably sport / fingering or fingering / sport, whatever one you want to put first. Of course, whatever I knit with it, I'm going to have to kind of swatch out a little bit. Although if I make a hat, I probably won't swatch, but we'll see. Because I feel like in some spots it will be thicker and thinner, but overall that probably does fall right in between on most of it. So that's okay with me. So I got the same amount of yardage for about 4 ounces. They're both about 4 ounces. Same amount of yardage, so 360 yards, both a 2-ply, which just kind of strange that this one falls as more of a sport weight in the middle, and this one falls as a thinner yarn, and I should have probably gotten more yardage out of it. Although I did not re-measure these after I washed and whacked and did all that and let them dry. So the yardage could be off. I'm probably not going to re-measure it. I'm just going to use it. But there's my little nifty tool. The last project I want to show I talked about, and I think I had only gotten the cuff done, but I've gotten quite far on this. This is Earth Mama Leg Warmers by Raedwulf, and you have to repeat the chart in the leg. I've talked about the cabling 14 times. I've done 10 repeats now. Oops, let me get it to focus on that. So I have 10 repeats done. I need 4 more. I'm one of those people that I'll kind of time myself and see how long it takes to do a repeat of something, if it's a repeatable something in the pattern. And it takes me about 35 minutes to 40 minutes to do 1 repeat of the 8 rows. So technically, if I did this, I could probably get the last 4 repeats done in about 2 hours. And then I don't have much left after that. If I look at the pattern real quick, I'll show you what they really look like. All that rustling. Here's what they look like. Here's where the last repeat is, and then there's some ribbing. So I'm really close to having 1 done. These might actually be done for sheep and wool, and if it's going to be nice for sheep and wool, I could wear these, and that would be kind of exciting. So yeah, there's the wrap up, guys. That's all I got. In knitting wise, spinning wise, fiber wise. We went to a concert last night to see like a ska punk band. John loves them. They're out of DC. Kill Lincoln is the name of the band. The other 2 bands were pretty great too. Catbite and, oh my gosh, I can't remember the other band's name, but they were really great. We actually bought one of their records because we already own all the Kill Lincoln. Well, we have some Kill Lincoln records, and we bought one of the other band that I'm blanking on their name. Apologies. We're actually going to another show tonight, which the main band is the Skatalites, and they are like original Jamaican ska band. So they have been around since I think the 60s, and the lead singer, the woman, I think has been around since the start of the band. So that's really exciting. It's the 50th anniversary tour. So whatever that puts the years at, that would be what, 68? Would be 50 years? Am I doing quick math correctly? Not quite sure. I think that is right though. So 1968. There's 2 other bands that are playing. We won tickets by reposting and liking the page of one of the other bands, and we've listened to them just on like Pandora or whatever, and they're really great too. So the second band though, we've actually seen before. When the Slackers came, we saw them. Or no, sorry, the Pie Tasters. When the Pie Tasters are here, they played with the Pie Tasters. So we've actually seen the second band. But I'm really excited. It's going to be another long night, and we have plans to go to the zoo tomorrow. So it's a very busy weekend. Yeah, that's it, guys. So that's the life of us right now, and I have another project I actually cast on. I'm just going to show that in the next video because it's a hat and it's going to be done. So why would I? Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you've seen teasers of it on my Instagram page if you follow me there. So click the like button, subscribe. Thanks to everybody who watches, and see you next time. Bye.